Good evening, everybody. Hope you are well. Back again today for day two of the 500K 30-day challenge, or 30 days to 500K challenge, where I raise money for real estate investors to invest in real estate. So before I get into today's topic, which is actually I'm doing day two and day three, because yesterday apparently I was supposed to do day two, and today I was to do day three. So now I'm combining the two and knocking out day two and day three at the same time. So today's topic is specifically about the types of investors that there are, and it's not just to educate you, but also to continue to remind myself of how it kind of works, and not necessarily levels, but the types of those that are out there that have funding and things of that nature that either don't know what to do with it, know what to do with it, or what have you. So I'll get into that in a bit. But before I do that, today I took my kids out to what is the place called? Dave and Buster's today. And while the kids were at Dave and Buster's, I found out that apparently I am super competitive. So I don't know if this happens to you, but I sat down with my kid. I went with my kid and we went to, she wanted to go to a racing machine or one of the racing games. So we hopped on the racing game. And as we're racing, there's two other people on the right side and myself and my daughter on the left. And as we're racing, I'm realizing that I'm not winning. And I can hear my daughter like, yeah. And I'm like, oh, oh, she think it's a game, right? So, of course, me being as competitive as I am, I proceeded to dig in and beat her butt in that game. Now, I'm not going to say I have a problem. I think we're all like this. As soon as that competitive drive kind of kicks in, you kind of go crazy. And, there was a kid who was down the way and, he was like, I couldn't win. And parents like, you couldn't let him win? No. which is relatively tragic to me. I should be a little bit gentler when it comes to that, but I couldn't help it. I had to win. At that point, I had to win because my daughter was talking trash. I don't want to come home to that. My kid talking trash to me every day, all day. Anyway, getting back into the topic of types of investors. All right, so there are three types of investors, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to break down these investors to you. And then what I'm also going to do is I'm going to put together a different slideshow, and I'm going to go live on IG at some point in time here in the near future and go back over these points. But this time I'll actually have basically a layout of each point, right? So that you can refer back to it and you can see it on my IG live. And if you want, shoot me a message, a DM, or shoot me an email, actually preferably a DM or email with your email, and I'll just shoot you the PDF once I complete it, once I've created it, and once it's ready to go. So first one is what we'd call, I don't want to call them the savvy investor, but somebody who uses their money as a business, right? You'll often see these people as what we call hard money lenders, and hard money lenders lend a certain amount of money at a higher percentage normally. Now, the reason it's at a higher percentage is because they're getting you the money almost immediately. So what happens is when you go into investing and you're looking to invest the money, or you're looking to find somebody to invest in your project, you talk to this hard money lender and they take that money and give it to you almost immediately. Now, because of the speed that comes with it, you have that higher amount or a higher percentage amount for their return that comes with it as well. Now, this is not them looking to gouge you. I'm not a fan of when people say, oh, hard money lenders are out to get you. I don't believe that they're all out to get you. There's people that are out there to get you, absolutely. But I don't believe that every hard money lender is out there to get you. Just like I don't think, every person out there is out to get you or take advantage of you on the street as you're walking up and down the streets and wherever you are. With that said, you do, although, have to be aware of the risk you're taking with any of these investors in getting into a business or working with them in that regard. And how you mitigate some of these issues is you do basically an onboarding process. You have your list of your questions and you go through your questions so you understand either what kind of investor they are, what they're looking for, how you can help them, or if you feel uncomfortable or not. And then, of course, if you feel uncomfortable, you pull out. So with that said, if you have an investor they use their money as a business, they're very savvy, they're very educated on how the money needs to work or needs to move when it comes to lending, that is normally on I'm not going to say a higher level, but they've been playing the game a little bit longer than normal. So those are normally what you would call hard money lenders. Now, at the same time, you have the next level, and not even level. I'm just not sure what to call these people or what category to kind of put them in, because the next two are relatively similar in the sense that they can give you what we call private money, and that money is money that they're loaning you directly. And normally, it may take a little bit longer to get that funding, and the percentage that you have to return to them is sometimes a little bit smaller. Now, it all depends on the person you're working with, all depends on the person you're dealing with, but the point is that they don't do it as a business. It's not their main source of business. It's not even a side business for them. They're investing to get an increase on their money. They're not necessarily investing to for you to invest in their business on the back end, if that makes sense. It's a little bit confusing, but I'll get there. So this second type of investor is somebody who has money, who has the education up to a point on how the money would work when it comes to, in this particular case, real estate investing. If you're in business, investing in a business, they have some knowledge of what cash on cash return is, what an ROI is. They have some kind of knowledge in that regard, but they don't use their money in the sense that, as I said, as a business. So their percentages are a little bit smaller. Now, the difference between the two mainly is the speed of the money and the percentage of the money that you will owe them back on the back end. It's not necessarily positive or negative either way. There's pros and cons to everything. So it really depends on your situation. If I wanted to get a property tomorrow, I would go a hard money route. But I'd also have to know, okay, I have to do what's called carrying costs. I have to pay them a certain percentage, 10, 12%, whatever it is, to get them back their money as quickly as possible, because the percentage is going to roll, right? So that's how you know when you're dealing with private money versus hard money. It's just the two different things. Now, this second person, you don't have to explain too much when it comes to the numbers, or not the numbers, sorry. My apologies. You'll still have to explain to numbers, but you don't have to explain to them every step of the process. You might have to explain things here and there. They're kind of in the middle ground, where hard money, they'll probably underwrite your deal or underwrite whatever you're doing to make sure that their money is safe. And then sometimes, and depending on who you're dealing with, they're looking to make sure you're safe as well. So that's the type 1 and type 2. Type 1 is the private money lender. Type 2 is kind of the middle ground. Type 1 is a hard money lender. Type 2 is the private money lender. The last lender is also what we would call, you could call it private money, but it's not really. It's normally people that have money but don't have the education on how to make that money make money when it comes to real estate. So these sometimes can be family, they can sometimes be friends. Just like hard money lenders, they can also be hard money lenders as well. But on the normal basis, you'll find these people, they're not really into real estate or business. They're making their money. They're making quite a bit of money. They have money away in IRAs, TSPs, what have you, 1031s, whatever it is. And they have the ability to lend the money to you so that you can go and make money for their money. Now, the pro and con again to this is, the pro is they're not as hefty when it comes to percentage on the normal. And sometimes they can be, of course, but there are always exceptions to every rule. But normally it's not an astronomical amount. But at the same time, you have to spend a lot more time explaining the process, which isn't bad if you understand the process and you can actually articulate it to a level that they can understand, and then reinforce it every time when you guys talk. So the key to it is understanding that everybody's not going to be on this high plateau. Sometimes there's people who just don't know. So, just like if you're playing sports and you play soccer, let's say, everybody doesn't know what the offside rule is, of course, right? They just don't know. So what has to happen is when you go to a game with your uncle, your aunt, or your cousin, you're explaining to them the offside rule. Everybody doesn't understand what double dribble is in basketball, so you have to explain those pieces. So the basis of it is the exact same principle with the third type. They're not going to know everything about a real estate deal and how it works, or the money and how that money comes back. So you may have to explain it to them, and I would recommend explain it to them because you want them to be comfortable. If you allow the people to invest with you to be comfortable, they're going to come back and invest with you again. But if you blow it and you don't treat them correctly, you're not responsive, you're not contacting them, they're most likely and almost guaranteed not to deal with you again because they're not going to feel comfortable. They're not going to feel as though their money is safe. So that is the main breakdown of those three types of categories. You got your your hard money lender, your private money lender, and your money lenders. I don't know what to call the last category really. And even then, like I said, private and the second and the third category kind of can mold together relatively, right? They're not always called the same thing, but that is basically private money. The money isn't used as a business. It's used to make them money, but they're not using it as a business. So hopefully this clarifies some things and helps you to understand the different types of lenders there are out there. Now, of course, there's more than that. You've got the traditional lenders of bank. We're talking outside of the bank as of right now. We're just talking about, private, hard, and family lenders, or just regular lenders who have TSPs, 401ks, 1031s, all those. They have the ability to do whatever they want to do with whatever funds that they have. So again, hopefully that helped. I'm going to put this onto my YouTube page. If you're on there, please check out the Oliver Perry on YouTube. It's streaming live, so it'll drop from here into there as well as onto the Facebook. I hope you guys have a great night. I will see you again tomorrow. And I was a little late today because of Dave & Buster's and my competitiveness. And I'm sorry. I am just competitive. I had to win. I didn't want to lose that racing game. It just is what it is. So I hope you guys have a good night. Remember, you're better than you were, but you're not half as good as you're going to be. I'll see you next time.